This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Time to catch up with Freo's finest, Matthew Pavlich. Before we get stuck into the convo, we've got a double pass to check out the Ampol State of Origin. Game 2 at Optus Stadium, Wednesday night, June 18. Ampol State of Origin hits Perth Wednesday. Don't miss the showdown. Tickets at nrl.com. Hey, Pav, that's going to be like the fourth game in about
less than a week. Yeah.
For the people at Optus Stadium.
Yeah, and for us who tend to either get invited along to these events, which would be good fun for us at Channel 9 on Wednesday night, or if we're working there, Shaun, it's a busy operation across Optus the last few days, definitely.
Hey, on that, Pav, are you doing the news from Optus Stadium on that night?
I think we will be, yeah. I've had the week off because I've been solo parenting, so I'm just catching up on all my emails and all my details for the week ahead. But I think so, yes. I think I will be there on Thursday evening. It'll be an earlier news service for all those people that watch 9 News, given the fact that we've got the NRL starting there at 6 p.m. So, yeah, I think we'll be there reading and then hopefully attending and enjoying the festivities, which is, it's all, I mean, I enjoy watching the State of Origin. I'm not a massive NRL fan, Shorty. Nat, I'm not sure about you guys, but it's always a wonderful concept to see. And I must admit, I am envious. I'm envious of the fact that they have this State of Origin concept and the AFL doesn't.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I think it's just because ideally there's just the two states that are dominant in that sport that makes it a lot easier.
Well, the Indigenous boys are pretty keen to get their team up. So then you could have South Australia, WA, and Victoria. I think that does work then. But anyway, we'll fight that.
Maybe that's something for the future. How is single fatherhood treating? We should point out that Lauren is coming back. It's not.
I don't know. She's been there for a while. She's having a good time. She's probably thought.
I said, how was your day today? And she said, I sort of got up and we went across to Brooklyn and I walked, this amount. I stopped at this shop and then we had a coffee and then we had a glass of wine. I'm not confident she's coming back.
Yeah. She's found a better life.
The kids are all fed and watered and got to their sport though?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was a busy weekend. I think I was, sort of between Lords, Bendat, Matthews Netball Centre, Optus Stadium a couple of times, Allen Park, Kingsway Reserve. There's a number of venues that I got to. I must admit I didn't see all the sport given
logistics.
There's too many kids and too many sports. But no, we got there.
Did you have to put a kid in an Uber at some point?
Not quite, but I was close. Thank you to shout out to anyone who's listening who did take any of the Pavlich children to and from sport across the weekend.
Oh, that is. Now, let's talk about those games that we had on the weekend. Both of us had a quick discussion about looking at the positives out of the Fremantle game, and that is they got the 4 points. And yesterday's performance by the Eagles, they went back a step, particularly in that first half.
Yeah, first half was awful.
Yeah, well, we had Andrew McQualter at quarter time, Shaun, and he said we're pathetic in the contest. And there's not many times a coach actually uses the word pathetic like that. It's a pretty damning thing publicly. So you can only imagine what he was barking orders at the players at quarter time about. They got absolutely smashed in the contest early, and they were brutalised in terms of the way they were tackled, and then they turned the ball over, and Carlton just scored way too easily. The upside, if you want to look at it glass half full, is that they got going late and they won the second half or thereabouts as Carlton had a few injuries and started to try to just control the ball instead of playing that helter-skelter handball game that worked really well for them in the first quarter.
They certainly did that.
The Oscar Allen injury is a little bit concerning though.
Yeah, it is.
It certainly is. I'm not sure how people are viewing it, but I guess if you want to look at it glass half empty, people might be saying it's his last game that he's played for West Coast, potentially. I really hope it's not that bad, given the fact that we don't know the full details, whether it's knee, ankle, Achilles. It was just off the ball, which is never a good sign. No. Having said that, though, it does put all the talk about where his future sits, right in the spotlight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. I think, Oscar Allen's a really good human being, and he was kicked to the curb earlier on with that, with the stuff with Hawthorn. He's probably likely, everyone's suggesting, he's going to go to Brisbane. And if that's the decision he makes, well, all the best to him. And he doesn't mean he hasn't been a good human being to the West Coast Eagles and a fine player. It does feel at the moment he needs clean air, or he needs the separation. Whether that's just time out of the game for a minute and then he can come back in at play. That's my opinion, Pav. And if he does leave, this is where the West Coast Eagles have got to be Johnny on the spot, because then they get a compensation pick. And if they don't take up this opportunity to explore Oscar moving on, they're coming into a point where the Tasmanian Football Club will get all the handballs in the world, and then they won't be able to progress the way that they would hope to, Pav. Thoughts?
No, you're spot on. Look, I mean, firstly, let's highlight how good a bloke and a good human Oscar is. He's been through a pretty average time. I mean, I've been openly in market saying that I met with opposition coaches previously, so it does happen. And you know, those people out there, no matter how staunch a West Coast supporter is, if you were thinking about moving your jobs, of course you might go and have a coffee or chat with someone. So it happens everywhere, and it also happens in the AFL. We're just going to get used to that. But, like, the issue now is, depending on, you know, we're speculating on what the injury is. Maybe it's just a rolled ankle and he plays next week. Let's hope so, right, for Oscar's sake and everyone's sake. But if it's not good and it is season-ending, then that puts, you know, anything really in jeopardy, whether it's will he then get the overtures from Brisbane and or Hawthorn? That's a big question mark. And then if that's in question, then what does that mean for the compensation pick? Because if it's not as lucrative, the deal as previous, then West Coast won't get that compensation that they would like in the top, say, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. And vice versa, if Brisbane and Hawthorn go off him a little bit, then what does that mean for Oscar's future? So really challenging for him. It's been a really challenging year. And he's captain as well, so he's had to share a very heavy burden. But, that's going to be fascinating to watch over the next couple of days to see what the scan results say.
They just need a heap of young talent to come in. They really do.
It wouldn't hurt. Young talent that'll stay here. That would be good.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Well, they've got a little bit there. I thought Elijah Sheward and Harley Reid actually
he shows a bit.
Decent.
Yeah.
Decent yesterday, but, they need another, 5 or 6 of those types. Be a key position. Archer Reid, we think, might be a player into the future, but that rebuild.
Decent debut by Tom McCarthy, Pav.
That was very good.
Yeah,
31
he
touches.
did all right. Yeah,
a few of those were from kick out, so you can take maybe 3 or 4 off. But he was outstanding and used the ball really well. So a little bit of upside there, but clearly a lot to work on, and they get the bye this week to
think about it
and think about the second half of the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Pav, just briefly before we let you go, Australia getting done in the cricket. I was mentioning earlier on that they need to probably, and talk about list management, they need to create some opportunities before everyone's the same age and 40 years of age and they haven't blooded the young crew.
It's spot on. Look, I mean, the bowlers, I think, are still doing their job. It's the top 6, really, Shaun, that is the major concern. And you're right, David Warner retired effectively 18 months, 2 years ago, and we still haven't found a replacement for him. Usman Khawaja is about to be done as well, or not too far away. So, what does that mean for our top 3 or 4? Cam Green had a terrible match, but that doesn't mean, I think we all think he's going to be the player, whether it's 3, whether it's 6, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be the future of Australian cricket. You've got to keep backing him in. There's obviously question marks about Constas, but I'm of your view here is ahead of the Ashes. Do you stick with the old, or do you start trying to get some new blood in there?
New blood. Just a couple.
I think you've got to look towards
Scotty
the future.
Boland. I'm backing him in. Bring in Scotty Boland.
Yeah.
Scotty Boland. You're not happy with Hazelwood?
No, I'm going to move Hazelwood out. I'm going to move Hazelwood out. I'm going to keep Stark going.
How old is Scott Boland though? Like if you're talking new blood.
No, he's no spring chicken, but he keeps getting the job done.
Yeah, no, he does.
I think he's the most effective bowler in the Australian lineup.
Well, he
doesn't leak runs.
Yeah, I'm of the view that you're backing the guys that are there.
Yep.
He's 36. That's not looking to the future, is it?
No.
No. Well, you think about some of the Xavier Bartlett and Brendan Doggett and a few of these guys that keep taking wickets in the Shield. There's a couple of West Australians as well, Jai Richardson, a few others that are around the mark. But you're right. It's just whether or not you get them in sooner rather than later to get them. I mean, selection integrity, right? You've got to pack the guys and pick the guys that are actually, going to produce. I think you can't just gift games to players. That's the other thing.
Yeah, 100%. Sure. Well, Pav, back in the trenches for you. Appreciate it. We'll check you out on 9 News as always.
Hope your wife comes home.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Jeez, I'm battling. If she doesn't come home, I might actually. I don't know. I might lose.
Godspeed.
You'll be right.
Godspeed.
Great work, Pav. Thank you.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
The people who are working at Optus Stadium at the moment, they're flat to the boards. Of course, Fremantle played their game on Saturday night. Quick turnaround to the Eagles, hosted Carlton yesterday.
Yes. State
of Origin on Wednesday night, and then Fremantle are hosting Essendon on Thursday night.
Just quickly, it was the Kangaroos home game, which was very bizarre being out for the Dockers game because they didn't make a big deal at all of the Dockers coming out. They introed the North Melbourne people. It's all North Melbourne ads on the big screen.
How funny.
And the colours of North Melbourne. So, and so they didn't even say, here come the Dockers. They just let them run out.
Yeah, I actually really liked it, Ross. And I think from a North Melbourne perspective, I wondered how it was all going to work. It's been a win for them. They bought over a truckload of coterie groups and sponsors and stuff, and they've bought all their club over for the last 10 days that they've been in WA. And over in the southwest, it was working because they were able to take people to Margaret River and do all that kind of stuff, Nat. And then to have people at Optus Stadium on Saturday night for the Dockers game, if they were playing at Marvel Stadium, which they would have been playing Fremantle, they wouldn't have got 31,000 people.
No.
And it's only going to be more because next year, as we heard earlier on from Simon Garlick last week, they hadn't built in the price of a ticket to go and watch Fremantle play. So they'll do that next season, and therefore they're guaranteed to probably get 40,000 plus...
so it'll be included as part of their membership as well.
Yeah, and if it's an Eagles Optus Stadium game and Fremantle play in Bunbury, I'm not sure, I think it might go the other way, then they're going to get even more. So it's going to be a win.
Yeah. So
it's
financial
going to be
success
really good
for them.
Yeah. And the one thing about their coach, Alastair Clarkson, was saying that they've had a week here, 10 days, and they've been able to get a lot of past players involved. There was a lot that came over.
Yeah.
Adam Simpson's already here, and Danny Laidley's already here as well. Yeah. But there's some great North Melbourne connection. Winston Abraham, Nat, you were talking. I didn't see the front bar, but you told me a lot about that.
Yeah, he was terrific on that. Yep.
There's a lot of North Melbourne supporters there as well.
Spider Burton played for North Melbourne.
Yeah, Peter
Bell.
Back
in the day, Peter Bell, Peter Mann, another captain of the Fremantle Dockers. There's heaps of connections. So it can be a very big success for them. Now, I want to go to the West Coast game yesterday. Blown out of the park early, and that was disappointing because a lot of people were expecting a bit more of a showing after probably the last couple of weeks.
No, that's a fair statement.
It is. Andrew McWalter was asked, did he give them a bit of a blasting after the first quarter?
Yeah.
This is what he had to say.
No, it's not even about giving a big spray. So, the job of the coach, you actually you can give a spray, that's fine, but you've got to give solutions or method to how you fix things. So, we sort of spent some time talking about that, understanding that effort, we can't accept that anymore. Like, we can't put in quarters like that. I don't think we've done it for, I'm going to say 10 weeks now or whatever it's been. It's been a good chunk of time. And we just spoke about it as a group, that there's a level you have to be able to compete at, and we weren't quite there in quarter one.
Absolutely,
That's true. And certainly the second half was better than the first. And it looked like they were going to lose by 100 points at halftime, but they went down by 34. So that's, the silver lining. The other silver lining is Tom McCarthy's debut, the best debut by anyone apparently at the West Coast Eagles. So
yeah, it is at the West Coast Eagles. He's the first player to have 30 possessions this year at 31. Harry Sheasel set the record for games debut. He had 34 in his first game. The difference with Tom's game is he was doing a lot of kicking out from fullback, playing on. But that said, I'm not taking away from it. It is great.
Yes.
And one of the comments that was made when I was doing the broadcast was Mark Lacroix. He said it was... What I'm looking forward to about Tom is that he hasn't been overcoached.
Yeah, sure.
So he gets to come in and play with a fresh ideas.
It's almost just letting him play his natural game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a success. So I'm looking forward to him having a bright future for the West Coast Eagles.
Fingers crossed.
When we started talking about this, Nat, and just first of all, and this is West Coast Eagles supporters, and you need to be along these lines in a lot of respects, and you're allowed to be because I think the narrative from the media is behind this as well, being optimistic versus pessimistic. So straight away you go,
all he can do is find the positives in things. We're just positive people.
Yeah.
last year, to this point in the season, you'd won more games and everyone was looking for changes. Everyone was looking for Adam Simpson to get the sack. This year...
I know you can't sack a guy that's been there for 5 weeks, though.
No, but take away the coaching position. This year, you're getting averaging like 43,000 people. Last year, it was well below this. And you won more games. So the West Coast Eagles supporters are very optimistic about what's been going on.
They're sticking with it for sure. Absolutely.
But it becomes down to... I mentioned this the other day, framing of the situation.
I mean, to be fair, last night there was a big contingent from Carlton. Carlton has a very big following here in WA, and so there's no doubt that a big chunk of that were Carlton supporters last night. But yeah, every week the Eagles supporters are still turning up.
They definitely are, and the talk around is there's improvements, there's green shoots, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. On the other hand of other side of things, it's been a really poor season.
No, there's no doubt about it.
It couldn't get any worse, to be honest. But
we could have not beaten St Kilda. That would have been worse.
When you're in a team, and the team that Ross and I follow, people are pessimistic all the time.
Yeah, I know. What is that?
Fremantle won on Saturday night, and there was a lot of other people because it's.
Why the long face, guys?
It's been a long time that there's been a picture painted.
Yes.
There's been a long time.
Yes.
The win on Saturday night, in my opinion, was outstanding. And here's the reasons why. Because they were staring down the barrel of 4 years in a row, coming off the bye and getting smoked.
Yeah, sure.
To be able to buck that and go, so what? It's North Melbourne. It's a big deal.
To shake off a hoodoo is always good.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. And the other part to that is Fremantle last year lost 8 games under 2 goals, and in just about in every one of those games, they were in front going into the last 2 or 3 minutes. On the weekend, they were challenged, and whilst they shouldn't have given up that lead, and there was some lackadaisical efforts, they still were able to hang on and really turn up their intensity when a team came at them. And hang on. And they did hang on. That's all they did, is they hang on, but it's 4 points. And if I was Justin, I did leave a voicemail for him. He's probably deleted it already. But it was to do with that.
He just must go,
He's going,
Shaun, man.
Here's another one.
I know he did.
It's an 8-minute voice message.
I was being optimistic for him.
Yeah.
And I was on the line. It gives you great coaching points during the week. There's so many points you can go over, but you've won the game, so you can bank the 4 points. But you can also go over these bits and pieces where they can do a lot better. I think it was just a really big win for the Fremantle Dockers. And I did mention we will talk about cricket, and that is the Australian cricket team went down in the World Test Challenge against South Africa.
Yes.
They've got a lot of work to do because we're coming up to play West Indies, but it's more so the Ashes next season. Usman Khawaja, he made a duck and 6. He's 38. He's getting on. Cam Green had a stinker, but at least he's young. Marnus Labuschagne being put up the top of the order. When you know you've got Sam Constas there.
Right there. Why wouldn't you blood this new guy? Like, let him actually play in that position for a sustained period of time rather than elevating him, dropping him, elevating, dropping it. It makes no sense.
I don't think it makes any sense too.
No.
I know that they'll play him in the Ashes series, but give him more opportunity to be able to be in the top form of his life.
Also, he's a loose unit, and we love that.
Absolutely. And Scott Boland's the other one for me. He's one of the best bowlers in the world, but he's the fifth banana in our strike bowling team.
And
he needs to be elevated.
They've just decided somehow that he's just an MCG expert, and they don't want to play him anywhere else. It's like, well, how about you let him have a crack?
I agree,
Crazy.
but that means you have to drop someone.
Yeah,
and for me, it's probably Josh Hazelwood,
yeah.
right? It's probably Josh Hazelwood. And then the coach, Andrew McDonald, go, but he's got the runs on the ball. We've got to give him another chance. At some stage, there's got to be credibility in selection, and you've got to be under the pump to be able to maintain your position in the Australian team, not on what you've done in the past, but what you're doing now.
Yeah. Strong words indeed from Shaun McManus.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.